We can use Minitab to construct a scatterplot of two related variables to show the relationship, if there is one, to show that if it is positive or negative, or if there is no relationship at all. I've used a data set that shows the duration in minutes of 25 of Old Faithful's geyser eruptions and the time in minutes until the next eruption. I've already entered the data into a Minitab worksheet of the 25 eruptions and times until the next eruption. When you would enter your data, you would want to title your first column with your X variable and your second column with your Y variable, or you could do vice versa. Remember that your X variable is your independent variable or your explanatory variable, and your Y variable is your dependent or your response variable, the variable that changes in response to the X variable. In order to construct the scatter plot, you would go into Minitab, go up under Graph, select Scatterplot. Once you have the Scatterplot window open, you have several options. In this case, it is a simple scatterplot, or you could select with regression. The difference being that with regression, you're going to get that visual line drawn through your data to show you whether you're seeing a positive or negative slope. You can see it either way with simple or with regression. You can choose. I'm going to choose simple and select OK. When that window opens up, you need to tell Minitab which of the two columns contains your Y variable and which contains your X variable. Just because you labeled it in your columns does not mean that Minitab knows. So in our case, our Y variable was our time, so I'm going to double click on time, and it will go into the Y variable because that's where my cursor was. Now that my cursor is in the X variable, I'm going to double click on duration, and it moves over into the X variable column. That is all filled in, and there's nothing else I need to tell Minitab. I can click OK, and it will generate my scatter plot. I can see that I have a pretty strong linear correlation among the duration and the time until the next eruption. Now, what is the numeric value of that correlation? There is a Pearson correlation coefficient value of R that I can also have Minitab calculate for me. So how do we calculate that value? The correlation coefficient R is calculated by going under Stat, Basic Statistics, and then we come down under Correlation. Again, we need to specify our values. Double click on your X value and your Y value to go under the variables box. Once that is in there, click OK. Minitab will then display your values in the display window, and your Pearson correlation coefficient will show up. The Pearson correlation coefficient value of R in this case is 97.9%. That's a pretty strong value of positive correlation, which is also shown in your scatter plot. We can see that there's a pretty tight cluster in the positive direction in your scatter plot. So your basic interpretation of this scatter plot is that there is a suggestion of a strong positive linear correlation.